Trigger warning for manipulation, SA, violence, gore, self-harm, astrophobia, claustrophobia, cannibalism, everything. Trigger warning for yes. Oh, what about yes? Have you heard of yes? Is there? Probably. This game's messed up. You've been warned. I have no idea what to title this video. It's been a very long time since I have experienced a kind of horror that left me feeling sick to my stomach. I've played a lot of horror games and watched a lot of horror movies, but I can't remember one that I had to sit down in silence after and just process it. Because I was truly unsettled. Responsibility, neglect, accountability. Plenty of stories feature these concepts, but no story I have read, watched, or played has made me so appalled by one of its characters that I had a physical response. Even the vileness of King Joffrey in A Song of Ice and Fire did not destroy me like this. And he is without a doubt an irredeemable monster who does some absolutely horrific things. Maybe it's how cartoonishly evil he is. He doesn't pretend to be nice. He just kind of owns what he is. And he's the worst, but he kind of loves it. I still can't believe that Dumb and Dumber destroyed Game of Thrones for a Star Wars series that's never going to happen because of how badly they destroyed Game of Thrones. I'm still not over that. The horror I'm talking about today comes from a short 2.5 hour long video game that I'll just come right out and say right away is one for the history books. Mouthwashing. Going to be doing something a little different today, because this game barely has any gameplay, and is essentially an interactive movie. Now the reason I like this with Mouthwashing, and not with Still Wakes the Deep, is because the game's story makes every moment count. And it doesn't go on for 4 hours while trying to convince me it's a game while it isn't. Mouthwashing owns its position as a visual experience and holds the attention of its audience with stellar writing, story structure, and visual presentation, which is what I'm going to be diving into in this video. I debated not summarizing the story to save myself a lot of work, but I decided that I think I've got to do it. With the amount of stuff I'm going to yap about later, the story needs to be here, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be reading through scene by scene, some scenes line for line, actually a lot of scenes, line for line. Little did he know he was going to be reading the whole damn thing. So, it's going to be a long one. Strap in. I'd say grab a snack, but the content we're covering today, it will probably kill your appetite, so grab a blanket, I guess. I don't know. Look how long the video is, dude. If you want to skip the summary, go ahead. I've made timestamps for you down below. I won't be offended. Use them, they're there. If you haven't played the game, and if you have any interest in doing so, I highly recommend doing that before watching this video. But if you don't care about spoilers, great, let's get the show on the road, shall we? With all of that said, let's jump into the story. Final trigger warning for everything. Stuff gets real bad for a lot of people in this game. In the distant future, humanity has made homes beyond the stars. Interstellar travel has been discovered, and planets other than Earth have been terraformed and colonized. Capitalism was the driving force behind humanity's expansion to the endless sea of nothing. And as such, most jobs have been replaced by robots to minimize business costs and increase efficiency. Yet, humans still have to work to survive in this world. And one of the jobs that some humans still do, although robots are making humans obsolete here too, is interstellar delivery. Done on board massive cargo ships. Long-haul space freighters. This is where the story of Mouthwashing takes place, on board one of these ships, owned by the delivery company Pony Express, called the Tulpar. Crewed by just 5 people, this massive ship is on a 382-day journey, and it is 147 days along that journey. That's what the intro cutscene gives us before saying, "I hope this hurts." We are then thrust into the perspective of someone in the cockpit of the Tulpar. They get informed that the ship is currently on a collision course with an asteroid, and that a minor turn to the left would be all that is required to prevent disaster. So naturally, you go to grab the controls and you go to turn the ship left, right. Okay, well you can't turn right. The autopilot won't let you just crash into an asteroid. So somebody goes and grabs the override key and steers the ship to crash. There is something seriously wrong with this person. So wrong that they begin hallucinating, running down infinite hallways as the sounds of babies crying echoes in their mind, and statues of Pony Express's mascot Polly block the path, and posters of company propaganda and policy start littering the walls. An alarm starts blaring. It's chaos. And then impact. Anyone else would do the same thing. We ain't touching the damn cargo. The hold is locked down for a reason. The only thing worse than dying slowly is not getting paid. But it could be something useful. I think. Could be what? Hopes, dreams, and marzipan? You don't have to. If it helps us survive, it's worth it. Man, Pony Express bosses really aren't chill at all, huh? Come on. A quick look won't hurt. How exactly is this group therapy committee planning on getting in there? Oh, right here, boss. You're looking at the meanest swing of the regional junior baseball team. Straight up nearly corked a kid once. I can take the utility axe and... You were goddamn born fully corked. That's enough, Swansea. There has to be an in case of emergency way inside. If I remember correctly from the safety protocols, the door should have an alternate access code, but it can only be uncovered using the code scanner device. And only the captain has access to the scanner. Of course. Go ahead and ask him all about it then. Maybe he'll sing you the blues too. We don't need him if we find the scanner, get the code, and open the hold. For better or worse, I'm captain now. I'll figure it out. Right on. The group splits up and Jimmy goes to check on Daisuke. Looks like it'll be soup again for dinner. You want a rock, paper, scissors for the chicken noodle? How much food do we have left? I'd say like 4 months-ish. Less than the remaining air supply, but we can make it last, in theory. We'll be starting to poke new holes in our belts pretty soon to pull that off. Man, my mom will straight up stuff me when I get back. I'll look like Swansea. We'll have a rad story to tell, though. They might even write articles about us. We could be on TV. It'll impress the ladies, too. Hell yeah! The real problem is us running out of toilet paper. Fatal stuff, man. We should leave that part out for the press. Has Swansea been like this towards you for your whole internship? That's just how he is, man. Didn't want a spud like me following him around for an entire year. This isn't really the internship experience anyone had in mind. Don't let him push you around too much. His bark is worse than his bite. He may be cranky, but he is legit a wizard of a mechanic. I was like, you rock! So this is what years and years and years and years of experience looks like? I'm sure he appreciated that. Jimmy goes to the med bay to find Anya there. He doesn't want to keep still anymore. What about the painkillers? It just hurts him so much. I can't stand the noise. You did make it through nursing school, right? Pony Express sure does know how to cut corners and nothing else. So much for checking in with Anya. F*** you, Jimmy. I was thinking, we never went back into the cockpit after we dragged him out. It's almost entirely foamed up. Kind of a miracle that Curly didn't end up fossilized, but it could still be unstable. I just think, well, it's the only place the code scanner could still be. Otherwise, we're shit out of luck. I'll take a look. I know you'll figure it out, Jimmy. You're so capable. Oh, also, well, I was hoping you could help me with the captain. Curly. Right, sorry. With Curly's medication? People have to be worth their titles, don't you think? Nurse Anya? F*** you, Jimmy. Yeah. Forget I asked. I'll take care of it. Jimmy then gives Curly his medication. Hold still, yeah? I don't like this any more than you do. You know what they say, pain is how we know we're still living. I can't bear to listen. Excuse me, sorry. Well, that sucked. After giving Curly his meds, Jimmy talks to Anya, who is not doing well because hearing Curly in so much pain hurts, unsettles, and saddens her. We don't have a whole lot of painkillers left, but you still want to keep... Why do you think he did it? Does it matter? What answer would make you feel any better? I have to believe that our worst moments don't make us monsters, Jim. I have to, even in his case. He tried to take us all down with him, Anya. The way I see it, there's 2 reasons to keep him alive at this point. Guess the important bit is that we all agreed to it, for one reason or another. I'm still feeling nauseous. I need a minute. Jimmy then heads down toward the cockpit. On his way, he checks in on Swansea. Ain't you supposed to be figuring out a great cargo robbery? Why are you standing out here? None of your goddamn business. Everything is my business now, because of Curly. I don't want to keep having this conversation. Right, Capitano. I'm working. Blue-collar fools can't afford to stop working even when the machine does. Go figure. And before you start, I'm taking a break. Don't you worry, I ain't going over my break time allowance. Ha! Working on what? How does it look in there? It's a solid wall of foam. I'm trying to see if I can break it down enough to get something useful out. Any of my tools. But if I breach that foam and break the air seal, it's lights out for all of us. I ain't letting anyone else mess around in there. Even Daisuke? He's your intern. He's supposed to be helpful. You think I'm letting that knucklehead in here after the crash roughed it up? Our so-called nurse nearly skewered her leg when the vent hatch was open during maintenance. And that was before the crash. I warned her, but it's in one ear and out the other. Then there's that teeny bopper thinking... Jesus Christ. Then there's that teeny bopper thinking only with his downstairs long nose. Just like my useless kids back home. Write that down. So, no, I ain't letting anyone mess around in here. Alright, Swansea, keep me updated. Jimmy leaves Swansea to his break and goes to the cockpit, finds the code scanner, finds the necessary code to open the cargo hold, and inputs it into the door panel. The scene cuts. We jump to playing as Curly. This guy, before he got turned into beef jerky. He is currently getting a psych evaluation from Anya. Are you listening? Yeah. Damn. I'm so sorry. I couldn't sleep again. But, I passed the psych eval. Well, you gave the same answers as last time. I do wish you'd open up a little more, Captain. These evaluations aren't just about you. As long as I'm fit to fly in your eyes, Anya. Oh, stop it. Guess that means I only have one more eval left to do. Jimmy. He acts as if I do these things for fun. Then I have to make a report with things like, I have found myself sexually excited at the sight of cartoon horses. Well, I could take it off your hands. Really? I've known him a long time. He won't try any bullshit with me. I suppose you are the captain? I am the captain. Thank you. What a relief. Oh, before I forget, Swansea asked me to give you this. Not sure what it means, but sounds like fun. Good luck, Captain. Curly goes to talk to Jimmy and Swansea. Upon arriving at the utility room, Jimmy waits outside, as Swansea and Daisuke are having an argument. And Pony Express said they don't provide onboard entertainment. Feels like there's always something broken in that room. Tulpar's starting to show her age. Passed inspection, right? Shouldn't be an issue. Plus, they added Daisuke last minute. Didn't account that there'd be 5 of us now. I really should have made a bigger stink about that. Maybe you should intervene. Or we can just close the door. Your call. Curly goes to see what's happening. Well, I can see the issue. This kid was brought on just to make me suffer. Intern my ass. I was just trying to fix the vent. How did it trigger the emergency phone? Because you're talented in all the wrong ways. I would have dealt with this, but only you can unlock the axe case. Every goddamn thing has to go through you. I'll handle it. Hang in there, Daisuke. Curly gets the axe and gets Daisuke out of the phone. Youch! Oof! Strong stuff, huh? Get it through your goddamn skull. That vent is strictly off limits. Fully fucking collapsed inside. You looking to get impaled, electrocuted, and cooked? Yeah, but like, you can't fit in there to fix it, right? So I can totally handle it. Captain, give me the axe. Swansea, this could have damaged the pods. You can't let something like this happen again. Yeah. I got it. Loud and clear. Keep the axe until you've cleaned all this up, yeah? Curly goes to leave, but Jimmy stands in the way. I take it Anya diagnosed you with being sane then? F you, Jimmy. Just off center, but it's what keeps me on my toes. I said I'd do yours. I want to hear all about those cartoon horses. Is that something you were born with, or a recent development? Alright, shut up. Let's go to the cockpit. Curly begins heading to the cockpit, but this game has visual hallucination type moments that really sort of speak to a character's mental state. This is one of those scenes. As Curly makes his way to the cockpit, the hallway goes on forever. The hallway repeats itself, and then we are met with a descent down a seemingly endless staircase that suddenly drops off into an abyss. He falls through the abyss into a seemingly endless sea of red liquid. The darkness above becomes an ocean of stars. Strange noises are heard in the distance. Noise builds, anxiety builds. Curly starts running, only seeing more endless liquid. Emergency warnings start appearing. Broken ladders start rising out of the liquid. These ladders that emerge from the water may have once stood very tall, but now they are bent and broken, and even if he would climb them now, it would be useless. He has ignored them for too long. The warning signs, he's ignored them for too long. An alarm blares. He keeps running. He's unable to look back and only run forward, ignoring the past, ignoring the present, barreling headfirst into a cataclysmic future. A radiant golden sun emerges from the sea and blinds him. Everything goes white. There is nothing to do, there is nothing to be done. Except there is a door. A door to the cockpit. You can't just make something up for this. It's not like these evals ever go anywhere when we get back. We'll power through it. Have you been able to complete your mandated tasks as co-pilot efficiently and to your fullest capacity? Let's see. I'll just put good for that one. That's all of them. Done and done. How are things otherwise? Off the record. I like it. We're in control here. Didn't think you'd ever take to being a freighter pilot as well as you have. What with how you struggled back on Earth. Sure, all I ever hear is how great of a leader you are. Honestly, it's kind of annoying. So what is it? How come it always seems like you're standing on the edge of a bridge with your feet in cement? Lately, I've just been thinking, is this enough? Should I stay here just because I've been successful at it? A good long-haul freighter captain. And that's bad? That's what I'm saying, it's not. But it's terrifying. I think, am I figured out? Is this all I'll ever be? Or do I take the risk and try something new, even if I'm bad at it? I guess I get it. You reached the highest rung on this ladder. So now you're thinking you might be on the wrong ladder altogether. Still a long way down from the top, no matter how you look at it. Well, I'm still climbing and climbing. Something like that. But hey, you know I believe in you. Here, on Earth, doesn't matter. You should write that on the psyche eval. Oh no, the big guys themselves. Guess that's my cue. I'll see you later. Curly grabs the news from corporate, and the chapter ends. Another vision from a new perspective. It starts with two jarbled words that we are unable to decipher at this point. We're in a seemingly endless warehouse of shelves filled with boxes labeled Dragon Breath X. There's a TV in the middle that blasts static. This person approaches the TV. They change the channel and find a cartoon that is corporate propaganda talking about how a business operating at a profit can offer benefits, high wages, steady employment, and healthcare. A video that gets people to work, but most businesses in late-stage capitalism don't offer those kinds of assurances. So it's propaganda to get people to work harder from a different time. The illusion of success, the illusion of a path forward for people in this world. They change the channel a few more times. Seeing a black hole destroy a sun, another cartoon talking about atoms and how small they are and how they make up everything, a video of what appears to be butchers handling meat, another cartoon of a snake oil salesman selling his magical drink called Ism that can make everything better, including the weather. They see some more TV static, a video of a macabre skeleton puppet dancing around and losing its limbs, and lastly, an advertisement for Dragon Breath X mouthwash. The advertisement ends with the fine print line, "Consult your local dental hygiene specialist before, during, and after use of Dragon Breath X mouthwash. Dragon Breath Co. will not accept responsibility for any harm caused by the use of this product." Tell you what, I ain't putting anything in or around my mouth that says anything remotely close to that on the packaging or in the advertisements. Words to live by. Tangent! Think about what you put in your body. Don't just eat the cheap stuff. Try to budget your spending so that you can eat better food more consistently. It'll change your life. Also be wary of sketchy miracle drugs. The f was that? So anyways, it's bad mouthwash, and Pony Express is likely the only shipping company that would actually move the product, because they're a bad shipping company. We jump to the crew discovering that the entire cargo hold is full of this mouthwash. This is mouthwash? Unfucking believable. There's gotta be an ocean of the stuff in here. This room looks freaking endless. This is what they'd have 5 people hauling for over a year? All of this. For mouthwash? The sugar content probably offsets any potential as a disinfectant. Disinfectant? Let me see that. 14% alpha, 14% ethanol. 14% ethanol. Ethanol. 14% ethanol. I suppose we'll smell good at least. That's right, kiddo. You can bet your ass on that. What are you doing? Stop that! Woo-wee! Oh, shut up. I'm just an old codger taking care of his dental hygiene. You hear that? That's the sound of 15 years of sobriety popping like a cyst. A glorious, magnificent, red-hot cyst. Good riddance and cheers to Captain Curly. Hear, hear. Guess anyone could get seriously blasted off the stuff. Yeah, and kill you in the process. This can't be real. There's no way. Now we can go out in style. Daisuke, come here. Anyone ever teach you how to drink like a man? We then jump to 6 days before the crash. We're playing as Curly again. I need to tell them. Surprise! Surprise! Look at your face! Gotcha. Cheers. Wow. What's the, occasion? We only get one communal birthday party per trip, right? So, we can have it whenever. Only one person can really be surprise birthdayed per trip. We did Swansea last haul, remember? Oh, no way! I can't believe I missed that! You were next on the list, so congratulations. Hate to say it though, your duties have to extend to even your own birthday party. You're the only one with the clearance to make the cake. The recipe is there by the machine. Hop to it, Captain. So, using the recipe, Curly makes the cake. There are warnings on the recipe that say not to eat more than 2 slices, and that the company is not liable for sickness caused by it, implying that the food materials used are hazardous to human health. Anyways, the cake is brought to the table. You gotta make a speech! Can't argue with that. Speech! Go on! Hey, what's wrong? That's all it said on the report from management. We will receive the paycheck for this delivery. I don't know any more than that. Pony Express finally kicking the bucket, huh? What a joke. And we're the punchline. I don't have any savings. They can't just do this, right? Pony Express was one of the last manned crew... Oh, fuck. Pony Express was one of the last manned crew freighter companies. Writing's been on the wall for a long time. When did they tell you? Earlier this week. I was instructed to wait until we were closer to the haul destination, but I can't keep something like this from you all. So I guess you got what you wanted. Without the guilt. Jim, if I'd known... I can go back to my... How'd you put it? Struggle of a life? Anya never got into medical school because she's... Well, let's be real. And how many employment years Swansea got left in him? Daisuke will be fine. Mommy and Daddy have him covered, so there's that at least. But you... Headed for bigger and better, right? I'm just working on my life being a place I don't have to fucking escape. That's what I was trying to tell you, nothing more. We're the ones you're trying to escape. Leave the dirt behind you now that your boots are clean. That's not what I meant. It is what you meant. You just couldn't frame it to yourself in a way that kept you as the hero. Abandon the crew, but remain the model captain. Unbelievable.
What am I supposed to do?
Let's have some fucking cake, Props to the Twilight crews of the Tulpar. Props to our captain and his new prospects.
Ah, yes. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his meditations, F*** you, Jimmy.
Curly cuts the cake. Although the cake is unnatural and quite sturdy, Curly has to saw the cake in half with the knife. We cut to 3 months after the crash. Jimmy wakes up to the sound of Curly yelling in the distance. Jimmy goes to give Curly his pills, but he isn't sure if he's been given them yet today. So he goes to find Anya. She's in the cockpit talking with Swansea about something. Swansea is brandishing the axe.
No, I understand completely, if that's how it has to be.
Oh, it's you.
Jimmy! Not able to sleep either?
It's nighttime. Why are you talking this late? Anya, are you crying?
No, don't worry, I'm okay.
We all need to keep it together.
Oh, I'm keeping it together.
Don't you worry, Captain. He's making noises again. Did you give him his meds before, Anya?
No, must have slipped my mind. I'm sorry,
I'll do it.
No, really, I'm perfectly okay.
I said I'll do it. You getting a lot of use out of that right now?
Force of habit. Don't overthink it.
I wonder if they've even noticed we're missing back at headquarters. It'd take a rescue ship so long to get here. Might be another freighter they could divert to try and find us. It's not inconceivable.
I suppose you're right.
Jimmy goes to feed Curly his pills. He is in so much pain. Just listen to him.
Come on, stop with the noise.
Damn it. I know what everyone's thinking. The way they look at me.
What could I even say? And then what would she do? Damn it! Here we are now, me in the driver's seat. Thanks for that. Open up. I hope these make you feel fucking better.
Jimmy then force feeds Curly his pills and beats him while doing it. The horror on Curly's face says 1,000 words. I hope you're doing okay. We've made it this far. We then cut to Curly sitting at the lounge table with the cake. Those 2 words, again, remain jumbled and they appear on the screen. We should have some. Why? It's mediocre at best, obviously. Sometimes you can only get the subpar stuff. That's what makes the really good stuff, well, good, right? Why bother? Hey, we all tried to escape. Didn't work for any of us. I've thought many times, is this what peace feels like? And is it good enough? If I'm being real, it certainly isn't the best. So all I can do is try to make my life one I'm not trying to run from all the time. Sometimes I'll be promoted, buy a house, fall in love. But other times, I'll just have some awful fucking cake with my friend. Right now, that sounds pretty brilliant, yeah? So if you'll do the honors? Right. Well, let me go find a knife. Jimmy goes to find a knife to cut the cake, but he finds Swansea's axe embedded in Curly's chair. Good enough, I suppose. Upon retrieving the axe, he is commanded to feast. He goes back to the lounge to find Curly laying on the table. Jimmy goes to do the thing. Four months after the crash. Jimmy goes to check on the crew. He finds Daisuke drunk on mouthwash. How many have you had? Those will kill you before anything else. I know. My mom found this internship for me. Such a slacker, she said. I don't know. I just never knew what I wanted to be. Never good at anything. Total screw up. We're not done yet, Daisuke. I just hope she doesn't blame herself. Please, just take it. I don't want to look at this stuff anymore. I want to be alone if that's okay. Sorry. Jimmy heads up to the lounge to find Swansea drunkenly hitting a groove most devious, axe in hand in front of the sunscreen. However, Jimmy goes to talk to Anya. Anya. Oh, you startled me. Sorry. No worries. You thinking about drinking that too? Honestly, yeah. It'd probably just make me feel sick. Wouldn't fix anything, as much as I'd like it to. Right. Hey, I was thinking, did you know that not all the medicine aboard was in my office? We store some of it in a storage locker in the hallway. Why haven't you brought this up earlier? It was phoned up. I didn't think it was possible to reach it, but I've been estimating the position of the phone. I think the medicine depot locker isn't too far into the mass of it, so we could try to break it down. One strike too many on a weak spot. We'll all get sucked into space. I think it's worth the risk. If nothing else, it's an excuse to get Swansea to hand over the axe. Jimmy then goes to talk to Swansea. Jimbo!
El Capitano, the man with a plan.
You done? I need that. This whole thing?
This was entrusted to me by our previous, tragically inclined leader.
Big responsibility.
But you know all about that, huh?
I'm going to try and get some more painkillers.
Do something useful, you know? Oh, I heard all about it.
You're looking to pull the plug on this party early. I'm trying to save us.
Take matters in your own hands, eh?
Be
my guest.
Swansea breaks the day-night screen. The last semblance of home this crew has, relinquishing the axe to Jimmy.
Think I already feel the ship rumba-tumbling through space again. Back to the future!
Jimmy then talks to Anya again, and she directs him to where the locker is. Jimmy breaks the phone and accesses the locker. Jimmy finds some more painkillers for Curly and some isopropyl alcohol. Anya's plan is worked out. Oh wow, Jim, you did it! Yeah, it actually wasn't that hard once I figured it out. Anya figured it out. F you, Jimmy. Amazing, really. Sure. I hate to ask you again, but could you give Curly his painkillers? It still just makes me so nauseous. You're not serious.
Look, I've entertained your sentimentality up until now, but I'm trying to actually fix things, Anya. I'm getting us through this.
It's find the code scanner. Then figure out the door code. Get the axe. Chop up the foam, but not too much. And best of all, give Curly his fucking medicine. But I'm bearing it. I have to.
Because the captain has to take fucking responsibility on this goddamn ship.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Go make sure Daisuke doesn't choke in his own vomit.
No. I can.
I'll take care of it, Anya. I always do.
F you, Jimmy. Anya is deeply uncomfortable just this entire game. Having to give Curly the pills absolutely destroys her because she can't stand to hear him suffer. And Jimmy is freaking the hell out after being asked to do 4 things. Like, dude. Despite his constant preaching that we can't freak out over little things, Jimmy is freaking out all the time. Anyways, we then cut to 6 hours until judgment? Oh wait, shit, we're not there yet. After berating Anya, Jimmy then goes to give Curly his pills.
I don't think I understood the pressure you were under before. Fuck, and you tried to tell me. Our worst moments don't make us monsters, huh? You were a good captain, Curly. And you'll be one again. I'll get us both through this.
Thankfully, that pill giving was a lot less rough.
Jimmy! Get the fuck out here! You can't hide. I'm going to chop you into 20 fucking pieces.
Jimmy barricades the door. We cut to 2 days before the crash. Curly and Anya are talking in front of the nighttime screen.
You doing okay?
Yeah, can't sleep.
I know how that is. I just toss and turn, or just stare at the ceiling all night.
I actually kinda like the nighttime window screen, if you can believe it. So I just come look at it sometimes. If you look really, really close, you can see there's a dead pixel in the upper right corner.
That's so. Nope. Don't see it.
In the back of my mind, it's always there.
Now I'll go bonkers looking for it.
Cheers.
I don't think it ruins the illusion, though. It's peaceful, but maybe I'm just used to looking at the bigger picture.
How many days of transport do we have left?
Let's see. Off the top of my head, around 237 days. Just under...
8 months. Hey, why do you think Pony Express put a lock on the medical room door, but not the sleeping quarters?
I suppose for the same reason they put a lock on the cockpit. Safety.
We then cut to 5 months after the crash. Daisuke barges in, freaking out. Jimmy! Help! Jimmy, it's a total emergency. Calm down. What is it? Anya's stuck in medical. The door won't open. What if she runs out of... something? Right. Let's go have a look. They go to medical. Anya, I brought Jimmy. We're here to rescue you. Don't worry. Don't panic. Hey, heard the lock's broken. Hey, Anya, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jimmy.
The rest of our medicine stash is in there too. Damn, this could be bad. Did you try to really put your back into it? Any wrenches laying around? How heavy's the med kit? Anya, is the door stuck?
No.
Huh? What do you mean? Look, we're all stressed, but you can't go breaking down at every little hardship. Open the damn door!
You were right. You were right all along. I should have done this from the beginning. I always believed that our worst moments didn't define us, didn't make us beyond repair. You think I wanted this either? Make no mistake. This isn't my worst moment. Far from it. It's the best decision I'll ever make.
Open the door.
I'll take care of it.
Anya! What does that mean? Curly's still in there with her, right? Yeah. You don't think... Daisuke, you and Swansea know the internals of this ship better than anyone. There's absolutely no other way into medical? Well, Swansea said it was strictly off limits. Like super mega not allowed above all else. The utility room. That busted vent in there loops into medical. But I mean, technically a person could totally fit through it. If that's the only way, we'll make it work. You listening, Anya? Fine. Come on, Daisuke. Hi, I'm checking in. I hope you're doing okay. This story is fucking rough. Gosh, man. Oh, man, I don't like this at all. God, what could Anya be thinking? We should go check out utility, right? They head down to utility. Swansea is drunkenly sitting outside. Swansea, we need your help. I know you said utility was dangerous, but I'm good right here, fellas. You know I'm not letting you in here. Off limits. Look, if there's any possibility, Jimbo, letting you scratch that foam wall would be useless. You'd only tear this goddamn ship a new asshole. Nothing to be done about it. Bad luck, tail missed the donkey. But Swansea, this could be really bad. Just hear us out. We're God's hand-picked favorites on this here planet, I reckon. Means we get to name it. So let's hear it for Wake Rock. Whatever's going on anywhere else ain't my problem. Since I'm the happiest man Wake Rock has ever seen. Let's just go, Daisuke. There's no point with him. We then jump to 8 hours until judgment. Daisuke is gravely injured. Don't do anything. Stop. I can fix this. Why do you keep fucking saying that? Are you hearing yourself? I'm sorry. We still have the disinfectant, right? The one from the extra medical stash? Get it, now. The cocktail. The cocktail? What are you blabbering about? That was your fault. You would never have... I had no choice. You. Useless! You goddamn fucking idiot! There has to be something else! Jimmy once again deflects responsibility, saying that him drugging Swansea was Swansea's fault because he wouldn't let him into utility. This man is the devil. Jimmy goes to medical, but he's unable to see the left side of the room. Whatever is there, he isn't seeing it. He bumps into Swansea, who is already searching medical.
I'm already looking in here! At least try to make yourself useful! God damn it!
Jimmy runs to find disinfectant, passing a gravestone with a pink hibiscus flower on it, like the one on Daisuke's shirt. The hibiscus flower represents friendship and love. Anyways, Jimmy stumbles into a madness-induced hallucination of a seemingly endless staircase in a large, dark room. He then teleports to a warehouse, code scanner in hand. An invisible monster stalks this place, moving through the boxes. A note says, "A blind beast, aimless and restless. You can't run from it. If you make too much noise, the beast strikes." Upon close inspection, you see that its head looks to be that of a dead horse. Pony Express. Jimmy's new position is captain. Responsibility. Jimmy makes it past the monster, finds some mouthwash, and escapes the vision. Back to Daisuke. Jimmy goes to use the mouthwash as disinfectant, but we were already told that was useless. I'm sorry. I messed up. Don't try to talk. Back to 5 months after the crash. I think the vent utility connects to medical, but you heard what he said. Going in there now, it's too unstable. Trying to break the foam could risk the air seal. I don't want to fuck up again like I did before. You heard Anya. I wouldn't put it past her to do something extreme right now. You and me, Daisuke. We can save Curly, yeah? Swansea won't help, so we'll figure it out ourselves. Right. Alright, yeah. We got this. But even before the foam, how do we even get the door to utility open? Swansea's been practically camping in front of the door, and he has the key. I have an idea. You're going to have to trust me. We need to knock him out. You're gonna fight him? No, even he has to have his limits when it comes to booze. We make him pass out. Simple, safe. He may not even realize we did anything after the fact. There's a recipe for a mocktail in the kitchen. We can follow the steps, but use different ingredients to add kick to it. Come on. So Jimmy plans to drug Swansea to get the key off him. You know, he just casually knows how to drug someone with the company equipment. While making the cocktail, Jimmy talks to Daisuke. We're out of sweetener. Any ideas? I might have accidentally, at some point mistakenly, misplaced a few packets before. By accident. Right. You could take a look around my stuff. Could be somewhere around there. But also totally somewhere else. Who knows? Anything's possible. The crash sure jumbled everything up. I fucking love Daisuke. Anyways, Jimmy finds a packet of sweetener hidden in Daisuke's bedroll, and he goes to talk to Daisuke again. Does Swansea even like sweet stuff that much? Maybe we don't have to. We need to cover up the taste. Come on, focus. Man. They finish making the spiked mocktail. Jimmy talks to Daisuke once again. That drink looks sick! I can totally picture myself on a beach with a hot babe and a few of those. Then I drink too many and throw them up all over myself and never be able to drink them again? Good times. Let's just get this to Swansea. They then head down to Swansea. They give him the spiked mocktail. The fuck is that? Look, we need to keep working together. If this is how I can get us through this without us being at each other's necks all the time, then... Yeah, give it here. We kind of freestyled the recipe.
Yeah, I can tell you had a hand in this monstrosity, kid. You ain't no mixologist. Sure as hell ain't no mechanic either.
You never should have come here. Who the fuck even decided to let you board, huh? Stick the idiot with a bunch of sad sack adults and see what he learns, eh? Bootstraps and all that. What a load of horse shit. You think it's all going somewhere, but every failure leaves you a little more mangled than before. Older, uglier, meaner, smarter in a worse way. Wallowing doesn't suit you, Swansea. I suppose you think we should all be acting like you.
Our hard-working esteemed captain.
I say take a load off before the sun finally sets on this party. May we never go to hell, but always be on our way. Jimmy grabs the key. Is he still breathing? He practically bounced off the ground. He'll be fine. His tolerance has to be through the roof by now. Probably just wake up with a massive headache. Man, he's gonna be so mad. I'll never get a good reference now. Oh. They open the door. Captain, you sure about this? Maybe we could talk with Swansea when he's cleared up a bit later. He's just like really into workplace safety and stuff sometimes, you know? Which is like totally cool and stuff, I think. He taught me. It's time to be brave, Daisuke. Curly and Anya are counting on us. Wait. Whoa, it's like barely foamed up at all. Hey, it's those things. I've never been inside one. What are they called again? Cryostasis pods. Oh yeah! Oh, these things are far out. Totally sci-fi. Oh, it looks like this one still works. How long can these things even keep you frozen? 20 fucking years. I can't believe Swansea managed to clear all the foam from here. He didn't. What? Think about it. Swansea never let you work with him on breaking the utility room foam wall, right? No, it needed to be handled delicately. He said I have way too much athletic strength in my arms. I would have just torn right through the foam. I was like, damn, makes total sense. Bummer. So I've been in charge of the kitchen instead. He said it's next level critical to keep stock and organize every day. He had me double, trickle? He said it's next level critical to keep stock and organize every day. Had me double, triple, fourtuple check everything like all the time. Right. Of course. And he never told you he'd gotten in here. No, but look at how busy he must have been. There was never any foam here, and Swansea has known the whole damn time. Just taking a load off before the sun finally sets on this party, huh? That boozed up bastard's been biding his time until he can save himself. Would getting in the pod really mean you'd get rescued? 20 more years of a chance to get found. I'd take those odds over our current situation. Not like this, though. Not by lying through my teeth while waiting for everyone else to die. No, man, that just can't be right. I'm sure there's a reason. We'll ask him about it when he wakes up. We'll deal with him after. Right now, we have a job to finish. And the vent looks like it's still in one piece. Whoa, check out those sparks. I hate to imagine how gnarly it looks on the inside. It could be somewhat collapsed in places.
You could make it through. We need to try it.
Swansea said it's not safe. I know he forgot to tell us about the pod, but he knows like everything about this kind of stuff. Maybe we should wait for him to wake back up. You said you could handle it. Swansea taught you well, right? Time to prove it. He'll be impressed when he wakes up. Proud. He'll understand why we had to do this, then he can explain himself. You think so? Daisuke, everyone's counting on you.
Captain's orders.
Yeah. I got this. Okay. Here we go. After Jimmy's manipulation, Daisuke climbs into the vent, despite Swansea's warnings. And...
What did you do?
Back to one day before the crash. Curly is trying to find the gun, as it isn't in its usual place. He checks everywhere, then goes to the cockpit. Anya is there. For fuck's sake, where is it? Us being let go isn't a reason to hurt yourself. Anya, as our nurse, you never got psych evals. I should have thought of that. You could have come to me if you were feeling stressed. What would you have done? Anything. Anything. You
The crew are all my responsibility. I told you so. Over and over, yeah? I'm not going to hurt myself. You know the gun is in a safety case I can't open, but I hid the case itself. Tell me where it is. None of this has to be on our performance log. We'll figure it out together. I'm pregnant. You're... what? Who would you? Captain. I told you. Listen to me. We can fix this. I've known him for a long time. I'll talk to him. I know you'd never give me the gun to protect myself, so the least I can do is make sure he never gets it either. Fuck.
Are you doing okay? I'm checking in. Fuck. After that revelation, Curly still believes that there's a version of this situation where things can be fixed, but the damage has already been done.
Curly turns to the nav computer and finds a reading printed from it. Detected abnormal asteroid trajectories along the route. Course corrections might be required during transit. We then cut back to Daisuke after crawling out of the vent. 6 hours until judgment.
The bleeding won't stop. Just try to stay still, Daisuke. I need a second to think. We can fix this. Hey, kid. You hear me? Daisuke. Hey, stop! Don't move. It's alright, Daisuke. Calm down. This line of work, you could never have become like miserable old Swansea. What a tragedy. Decades of hauling ass for Pony Express. Big mighty bruiser with all his shiny tools. This is where it got me. The good life, huh? I thought you were dumber than a can of paint. Always just chewing my ear off about nothing. Useless ray of goddamn sunshine. Not an A student, career workhorse, or force of ambition.
Just a damn good kid. Trying his best. You could have taught an old fool like me a lot.
Close your eyes, Daisuke. You monster! I could have fixed him, Swansea! I have to do everything myself! Why can't any of you just give me some time to fucking think? How do you still not understand? It's over. End of the fucking line. He won't suffer one more second because of your delusions. Unbelievable. Stop pretending. I know all about your plans, Swansea. I went to utility. I saw what you've been hiding down there. Sneaking around with that axe, telling Anya who knows what. Now this? You're making sure you're the one who gets inside that cryopod. Ha! I sure did talk to Anya. But it was her telling me all sorts of things instead, wasn't it? Shouldn't the captain go down with his ship? Not that it matters anymore. I ain't got no place to be. I got everything I could ever want right here on this ship. So go ahead and get in that pod. If you ever get found, you can tell them whatever fucking story you like. You've earned it!
Jimmy now wants to find the gun. He doesn't trust Swansea. He checks everywhere. He finds the code to the lockbox the gun is in, and he ends up finding the box, despite Anya hiding it so that he wouldn't get it. He finds it in medical, right next to Curly. And Anya. That space that Jimmy was unwilling to see earlier was Anya, who purposefully overdosed on medication to take her own life. Jimmy doesn't even acknowledge Anya's corpse. He grabs the gun, and Curly starts laughing maniacally. He sees what Jimmy is now and what he has done, and can only watch as the totality of his failure is made clear. He was a bystander when he was needed most, and now he is fated to be a bystander for the rest of this story. Suddenly, Jimmy! We jump back to the day of the crash. Anya is kneeling down in medical. Curly goes to talk to her. I told him, Anya, you should have waited for me. What did he say? Nothing that makes any difference. Did he seem angry? Where did he go? He just walked away. Curly, I don't want him in here anymore.
Hold on. Fuck. Just wait. I need to find him. Everything's gonna be okay.
Curly is in shock, but he has to find Jimmy. Due to his leniency towards his friend, Curly endangered Anya, and Jimmy raped her. We hear the music that played when the ship crashed. The anxiety, the fear, the shock. Jimmy stands outside of the entrance to the corridor that leads to the cockpit.
Jim, I can fix this.
What do you think will happen when we get back?
We can figure all of this out. You and me.
All I ever hear is how great of a leader you are.
God, it's so annoying.
But now, what do you think will happen now when we get back?
We'll fix this together.
Everything you and I worked for in our lives, accomplishments, changes, none of it will matter.
You've gotten through difficult situations before. This time won't be any different. Work through it, one day at a time.
It's not just me, is it? You were supposed to be the one who had everything under control. You said so yourself. The ship, this crew, everything that happened here.
This was your responsibility, Captain.
That is what you'll be hearing for the rest of your life.
Or this can all be remembered as a tragedy.
Despite what must have been the best efforts of its acclaimed captain, the Tulpar crew was never found. No one survived to tell the tale. You're standing at the top, feet in cement. I get it now. Right? Right. I'll take care of it.
Jim, tell me you didn't. I didn't. What the fuck did you do?
One hour before judgment. Jimmy carries Curly out into the lounge where a dinner party has been set up with everyone's corpses.
Woohoo! Happy birthday, Captain! This rocks! Hear, hear. To Captain Jimbo. Come on, you have to give a speech. Go on, have at it. You better make it good. Hell yeah! Our captain, Captain Jimmy.
Jimmy resorts to cannibalism to keep him and Curly alive. He gets the knife and saws, reminiscent of how the cake was cut. Curly wails in pain. A lot of people struggle to put food on their plates, but that wasn't enough. Right, Captain? The lowest rung of your ladder is our highest, until it was all swept from under your feet. Life isn't even worth living at the same level as us. But I forgave you. All of us do. I won't give up on you. Even like this, I believe in you. We're going to make it through this. Sometimes we thrive, travel the endless reaches of space, but other times, we just have to accept days like these. You taught me that, Curly. Let's eat. Let's survive. Take responsibility. The words are now unjumbled. Jimmy runs through a giant vent. He sees Daisuke before the light changes to a grim red and he vanishes. The light returns to normal, and now a note is stuck to the vent. No turning back now. Trying to turn around results in this happening. Jimmy focuses on looking forward while walking backwards. He is blind to the damage he is doing. He walks over a little shrine to Daisuke, but doesn't look at it. He gets to another note, responsibility, but he walks away from that too while staring at it. He refuses to accept it, despite it being the only thing he could do. He then walks through a disorienting series of hallways and long falls, crawls into a vent surrounded by axes. He crawls past the hibiscus flower we saw earlier, Daisuke. He falls out of the vent and sees Swansea tied to a chair. He picks up the gun and uses it. He gets teleported to a graveyard with a shrine of Daisuke at its heart. Swansea prowls like a hunter with the axe. He's fueled with vengeance over Daisuke's death and is trying to kill Jimmy, but Jimmy manages to shoot him.
I have something to say, so shut the fuck up and listen.
I spent 13 years half cut up to my eyeballs. Drunk, to put it mildly. And suddenly, I saw it. A street light shining in my face. 500 gigawatts of the power of God. A vision of my bloated body found in some ditch. Scared me straight. So I got a collar shirt, mortgage, and a credit card. All the things that make a good man. I hoped I could raise my children to be better than their old man. I wanted to believe I was never one setback away from my worst self. But the truth is, discipline, drive, routine, the endless fucking desperation to get shit done, a loving wife, great kids, sobriety, I'm telling you. Accomplishments I'd been chasing all my life. Never felt as good as I expected when I crossed the finish line. So now that we're at the end, taking inventory, those nights spinning out of my head, sinking into the sofa, broken glass in my palms, bleeding dry, the funniest thing ever, old dogs laughing and snarling on a waterbed floor, mocking the moon for daring to show its face, all nausea and wreckage and vomit and ugly cruelty. The only problem in the world, an empty bottle. Those were the best days of my life. Yeah, those were the best days of my life.
I got nothing to hide.
Ready to face the music.
I can see myself for what I am. But you? A cowardly, selfish motherfucker, and you can't even see it! I should have been able to protect the kid. If I could have done one thing right, I wish it had been to give him one small chance off this goddamn rock.
Swansea, I'm going to fix everything. We're going to make it. Fuck you. Take responsibility. Jimmy stands before Swansea's body. He walks away, avoiding what he's just done, and stumbles into another hallucination. An endless hallway where Curly's eyes start appearing everywhere, watching him, judging him, begging him. Jimmy gets lost in it. And then we jump into a new place. A fleshy tunnel. It turns out to be Curly's esophagus. Jimmy runs over to this large machine, only to find Curly strapped to it with a series of valves controlling the inner workings of his digestive tract. There's a TV nearby that plays an old cartoon about a party with a cake.
'Tis old Mother Goose's birthday, we're giving her a party. A party, a party, a party for Mother Goose.
The baker man, he served the cake, it was a sight to see.
Jimmy tortures Curly and force feeds him his own leg, even when his own body rejects it. The leg gets eaten. We watch it go through Curly's digestive system to ensure it stays down. And then Jimmy goes to look at the TV. I want to go home. We are home. Why don't you finish what you started? Don't worry. If anyone finds us, I'll still be playing the villain.
You'll be the better man in the end, like you wanted.
I could have stopped it. I'm taking responsibility. No. We can both be heroes. We're a team. Just you and me, like we used to be. What happened was an accident. We were trapped. I made a mistake, all right? I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry, Curly. This vision of him talking to Curly like this, he's believing and acting like he's taking responsibility, but he says that it's an accident and a mistake, when in reality, it was a series of selfish, evil choices. He's in active denial that he's done anything wrong. We then jump back to the vent. And we see a large, fleshy mass with a structure reminiscent of a vagina and what appear to be two eyes. This is awful. There's an ultrasound machine nearby. Jimmy picks it up and looks around, only to find the skeletons of what look to be baby horses, like Polly, the Pony Express mascot. After seeing the horse twice, this happens. All clean. Really gets rid of that bad taste in your mouth, huh? Through wreckage, through silence, wash it away. All day fire fresh. Back in the vent. The creature is on the ceiling, and Jimmy has to avoid it. Avoiding his responsibility. The creature cries like a baby as it scrambles around. Jimmy then teleports to a dark hallway with the crew's IDs all over the place. He runs through it, running past everyone whose lives he's ruined. The creature beckons, but Jimmy keeps running. Pony Express is dead, and so are you. Shut up. Curly tried his best. I did too, but he's the better man. I see that now. We can both still make it.
I'll take care of him. I'm taking responsibility.
Curly. Captain. I'm so sorry. Yes. Yes, I do. I fucked up.
But I can still make this right.
Our worst moments don't make us... Back to the dinner party. Curly stares at Jimmy. Jimmy picks him up and carries him down a seemingly endless hallway. The only sign on the wall is utility. Go home. After a long, agonizing walk, they finally arrive at the utility room. Jimmy places Curly in the cryopod.
It's okay, Curly. You're going to be okay. You always had my back. I ended up hurting you, even though I was trying to save us, but now you'll survive. It's like you said, together, we can fix anything. I'm just proud I got to be your friend and co-pilot, Captain. No one can hurt you now. We fixed it. I fixed it.
Holy shit. I felt so sick to my stomach when I finished this game the first time. Oh my god. And even writing the script for this video and recording all these lines. And while editing it, oh. Well, we made it. Take a breath. Don't grab a snack. Wrap yourself up real tight. I'm gonna yap about some shit. Because now that we've seen the story of Mouthwashing together, I have a lot of things that this game made me feel and think about. Let's get to it. This video took me a long time to make. Much longer than I initially thought it would. I kept writing new drafts because after each draft I finished, I felt like something just didn't feel right, you know? Also, I had to re-record the lines in the story portion for this video a few times, because I trained in acting, so I was a harsh self-critic. And also, finally, and most importantly, I had initially tried to introduce a bit more humor here and there to attempt to lighten the mood a bit. We were dealing with such uncomfortable material, you know? And for such a long time, at that. Humor's my go-to coping mechanism. I'm a goofball by nature. You know, I often laugh or try to lighten the load when things get uncomfortable. It's an unfortunate trait that I have. And this is a video platform where traffic is directed by algorithms, and videos can be struck down for various reasons, justified or otherwise. But every time I sat down to edit the video, it just didn't feel right, you know? And as I took more and more of the humor out of the video, it started to feel better. And I realized because I was beginning to allow the pain that this story made me feel to be better expressed. You know, I wanted to keep some humor in here because that's just, you know, it's kind of my voice. I like to be a bit of a goof, but, you know, this material, in order to let it truly speak, I had to really tone that down. Yeah, no, it felt wrong because I was appeasing my own anxieties and my own pain and my own uncomfortabilities with the material. I held up a carrot on a stick and waved it around a little bit for a quick giggle to lighten the load and hopefully make it more palatable for a broader audience, aka the algorithm. But that's not the way to do this video. So I kept writing until the pain that the game made me feel had been properly expressed. Because trying to lighten the load misses the entire point of this story and what I assume the writer's goal was. I hope this hurts. It's one hell of a way to open a story. That message wasn't for the crew. That was for you, the player. Why would a writer wish that a story hurts its reader? Well, based on what happens in this story, if what happens doesn't hurt you or upset you in some way, that might say something about you as a person. That something might be wrong or misaligned with you, you know? This game should upset you. It should. I hope it hurt, because it shows different ways that lots of men, even good men, like Curly, fail to show up for women, and therefore make them feel unsafe. Because when the chips are down, we, as a collective, men TM, if you will, haven't proven as a whole that we can be trusted to not just hold bad men accountable for their actions, but ourselves to the standard of a trustworthy, safe man on a scale wide enough that women could feel safe enough around us to let their guard down. It's a numbers game, fellas. And I've certainly been guilty of not doing anything to help that situation. And at my worst, unfortunately, I've been guilty of saying dumb, inflammatory, and hurtful shit, you know? Because I was immature and traumatized at that time. And I'm not proud of that. I'll get more into that in the next section, but not the case anymore. I'm proud of who I am today, but I see myself at different times in my life in Curly, Daisuke, and Swansea. And I am sure I'm not the only one, because those guys are everywhere. This game offers a lot of nuance with its male characters, minus Jimmy. Okay, let's get this malignant tumor of a man out of the way. A brutally honest representation of a toxic masculinity, someone utterly possessed by their own perceived worth and power, complete with fragile ego, hatred of women, the need to control everything and everyone, and hatred of other people's success and happiness. He constantly insults Anya, the only woman on board, targeting her intelligence, despite her coming up with great ideas in the story that the crew follows through on because they're smart ideas, like opening the cargo hold and cutting the foam around the medical locker. He also targets her having anxious breakdowns, despite him being the cause of those very breakdowns, and despite him being one to freak out at small things himself, like being asked to do a simple task while in the position of captain. He has no love or empathy in his heart for anyone but himself, and in matters of the heart, he eats. He never nourishes. He's actually quite perceptive to others' emotional cues, but rather than using that talent to help others heal or do better, he uses it to manipulate people to his advantage. He weaponizes people's hopes, dreams, and traumas against them to make them feel bad about themselves, or to make them do what he wants, or to make them do things that he was asked to do, instead of just taking responsibility for his own actions and doing things himself. But that's just it. Jimmy f***ing sucks. But the other men on the ship have a lot of positive traits. They are flawed, as are all people, some more than others. They're flawed in ways that make them powerless to help Anya and unable to stop someone like Jimmy from doing what he wants. The scariest part about these flaws that the good men in this story have is that they are widespread in our world and usually are come by pretty honestly. Daisuke is a caring and positive guy who tries to make people laugh to lighten the mood. He copes with everything happening in the game with jokes. He's young, naive, made ignorant by a sheltered upbringing, conflict avoidant, and afraid to stand up to authority. He's a kid who it's hinted has neglectful and possibly abusive parents. So of course that's the case. In a perfect world, he would get to focus on growing up at a reasonable pace, getting to garner life experience with the guidance and understanding of caring mentors and parents. But his home life is toxic and unstable. So instead, he's laser focused on wanting to work hard and make his parents proud, to finally earn their respect, because they haven't given him that yet. And unfortunately, the mentor he gets is Swansea. I want to stress this. He's a teenager, a kid, who doesn't think his parents respect him. It sounds like a cliche, like the classic easily annoyed and very angry teenager archetype, but he's neither of those things. In fact, he's a sweetheart who, despite everything, is a noble person who wants to help, but just doesn't know how, and is afraid to upset the person in charge, thanks to his parents. Jimmy manipulates his need for parental validation against him, leading to his heartbreaking demise. Curly, despite his goodness, has some crippling flaws, those being his indecisiveness and lack of will to act in uncomfortable situations surrounding his friend. And lastly, his ignorance, which takes the form of the inability to see the worst in people he cares about. But he also has a lot of good traits, being someone who sees the best in all people. He trusts the people around him to deliver, and he sees their potential. He has the makings of a great leader and a mentor. And on top of that, he is generally a very nice and well put together man who cares a lot about the people around him. He talks to Anya when she can't sleep and tries to help her, wanting to know what's wrong and if he can help. Despite his failure, he truly cares. He tries. A lot of people I've worked for wouldn't even think to ask me if I was doing okay. Never mind actually try to talk about it. People with mentoring personalities are always great people to work for, follow, and learn from. But Jimmy was never interested in following anyone. Curly's trust in his friend blinded him to his evil nature, which was something that he struggled to see, probably since the moment they became friends. He couldn't picture someone he cares for being evil. Maybe he worries what someone he cares about being evil might say about him. Who knows? Another form of Curly's ignorance. Unfortunately, when he does realize the truth about Jimmy, it's too late to prevent what happened to Anya, and upon finding out, he's paralyzed. He freezes, and doesn't stop him from crashing the ship, costing everyone their lives. Quick tangent about Curly finding out what happened to Anya. When Anya says, "I told you," she didn't tell him directly. We would have seen that if that were the case, because that would have been too big of a scene to not feature in the story. Her telling him was the dead pixel discussion. She was hinting at Jimmy without actually saying it.
Anya likely didn't tell him directly because she was afraid of how he'd react. Yeah, she's comfortable around Curly in 99% of situations, but statistically, men aren't known for handling these kinds of situations well. Unfortunately, most of us have proven that we're more likely to either not take it seriously or that we'll defend the perpetrator. So, to avoid that, she tries to guide him to the answer, instead of just telling him outright.
But Curly was too busy focusing on the big picture of being an exemplary employee and being happy that his friend Jimmy was working with him and bettering himself. So unfortunately, that was all he could see. Curly, being a man in this situation, has the privilege of being safe enough to only have to worry about the big picture rather than the full picture. The dead pixel of Jimmy's evil, Anya's anxiety around him, and her indirect cries for help were completely invisible to him. But when Anya tells Curly she's pregnant directly, he understands fairly quickly and is shocked. But he fails to act. He fails to fully address the situation. He tries to fix it But there is no fixing what happened. It fully hits him after talking to Jimmy outside the cockpit. He gets to see Jimmy for the monster he is and is stunned as Jimmy blames Curly for everything that has happened and casually says that he's gonna kill everyone now. I mean, I'd be shocked too if someone I cared about did this. Anyone would. But this game shows us that the time to act is right away. Finding out that a friend of yours is a monster is, at a baseline, not an easy thing to process. But with a friend like Jimmy, I imagine that is a barathrum of despair. So yes, acting right away is far easier said than done, but it must be done. Curly being an observer when he should have stepped in when it counted most left him physically broken, doomed to be an observer to watch everyone else die. Finally, Swansea. While being an aggressive and jaded prick most of the time because of his struggles with his life, career, family, and alcoholism, he still has a genuine care for people's well-being and has a bit of a protective nature about him, though he struggles to properly communicate that and act on that due to his trauma and substance abuse. He's a man who has suffered too much hardship and is ruled by hopelessness and self-loathing. He always expects the worst. Seeing bad things happen to good people is just life to him. He doesn't dare care about anybody else, not even himself. He feels that he has done everything wrong in his life, and he feels he can't do anything right. When Anya tells Swansea about Jimmy essaying her, it's clear Swansea wants to hurt Jimmy really bad. So much so that he carries the axe around with him at all times, and he starts to get really snippy with Jimmy, likely debating whether or not to just use it on him. He cares about Anya, despite how he talks about her and to her. He talks to her in the middle of the night to help her keep a level head with everything going on. He lets her vent. He mentions how it was just her saying a lot of things to him whenever they would talk. You don't do that with someone you don't care about. However, his demons got the better of him. The mouthwash being discovered, the complete hopelessness of the situation being made clear, got to him. Due to this, Swansea embraces absurdity and falls back into his old habits. The addiction he once overcame takes control, drinking himself into a stupor rather than processing his pain, choosing ignorance over action. Having started this story as a brash, rude, unapproachable, hurtful, but dependable man, he unfortunately becomes an unreliable and unstable person, who, if he had better dealt with his pain, might have been able to prevent Daisuke's death. Though it is not explicitly stated, his plan with the cryopod was to give it to Daisuke. Swansea says he never wanted to use it himself and that Jimmy can have it because he earned it, right after Daisuke dies. Swansea saw Daisuke kind of like a son. While he didn't see his own kids in a good light, Daisuke gave Swansea a little hope, a useless ray of goddamn sunshine that could have taught an old man like him a lot. Daisuke was the son Swansea thought he didn't want until he lost him. Swansea was also too late to prevent Anya's suffering or death due to his own issues as well. And even still, he didn't start truly fighting Jimmy until it was too late. Pain must be dealt with, or it can consume your whole being. These men, not you fuck, all have good things going for them, but are in some way afflicted by ignorance. Many people assume malintent when somebody does or says something wrong, and it can be easy to mistake advanced ignorance for malice. But unfortunately, life is so rarely like a Shakespearean play where bad people come out and just straight up say, "Let me play the villain." Although these days, I've seen things like that happen, and people don't seem to take it seriously for some reason. Most people are just ignorant to their wrongdoing. It doesn't excuse their actions by any means. Their ignorance can indirectly do some serious damage. It just makes me understand people better. In this story, we witnessed a lot of horrifying and depressing things, and I hope it hurt, because on a lighter note, it means that you haven't completely shut off the parts of your brain that allow you to empathize, be vulnerable, get hurt, trust, and feel a sense of injustice. To be human. Despite the fact that this world is constantly trying to distract you from the wrongdoings of terrible people while propping up those who would tell you to not worry about it or to deal with it. Despite everything you've been through and everything the world is doing currently, which is seemingly crazier by the day, you're still human. You feel. You hurt. And that's a good thing. I've talked about the lads. Now it's time to talk about the lady. She deserves her own section. Before I jump into this, I present to you me. I'm gonna do my best here. I know a woman would have more insight into this horror than I would, so I asked one that I trust dearly to peer review this section so that I could better communicate my thoughts with her insight. Yes, I know a woman. Now, boys, this isn't to say that women don't fail each other or the men in their lives too, but this game perfectly showed the horror of men failing women. So we're talking about that here. This game is not man-bad horror. More accurately, it's men can be bad, but more often than not, they're useless horror, which is not only more true to life, but it's also a far more terrifying message that Mouthwashing delivers perfectly. When talking about the lads, I pointed out that the three men who were in a position to protect Anya from Jimmy failed to do so. Daisuke being young and naive and ill-equipped to stand up to bullies, Curly being unable to see his friend as a monster and not trying to press Anya for further information when she was clearly not doing okay, and Swansea being too consumed by his own pain, effectively killing and corrupting the fight that he clearly had in him, making him no use to anyone. I pointed out that these three men are not bad. Daisuke and Curly are good. Swansea is less good, but he demonstrates some inner goodness and morals throughout the story. Despite their goodness, at the end of the day, they were all useless. Anya, in her time of need, could not rely on any of them, and it was soul-crushing to watch that. When Anya killed herself, I was devastated, but I understood her reasoning. She was constantly derided for her intelligence, despite her being quite smart in this story, and despite her stabilizing Curly in this state with barely any medical supplies, and despite her coming up with a lot of great ideas that the crew ended up following through on. She'd suffered at the hands of Jimmy, and nobody saw her pain. She was sad and alone, trapped in a cage with a monster, surrounded by bystanders. She was unseen by the person she felt most comfortable with on board, Curly, who had the power to do something about Jimmy before he was hired as his co-pilot, as well as to do something about the situation before the crash, but didn't. Then he was injured to the point of helplessness, suffering because of Jimmy, just like Anya. The fact that she felt like ending her life was the only way she could have any control or agency was, needless to say, not only reflective of real-life attempts of the act, but deeply horrifying as somebody who cares about the women in his life. Anya's quote, "I have to believe our worst moments don't make us monsters," is such a heartbreaking statement, especially in the context of this game. It's a hope that things will get better. It's an assertion that people make mistakes and they can learn from them. But what Jimmy did to Anya was not a mistake. He fully intended to do what he did to her. It also can't be fixed. Jimmy uses this quote to try to justify his actions, and it made me want to throw up. If our worst moments don't make us monsters, then our best moments don't make us good people. Being a good person takes constant work, vigilance, and humility. I'm about to get pretty personal, so feel free to jump to the next section if you want to skip this, but I think I need to in order to further illustrate this point. To perfectly demonstrate how dire the situation is in real life, of how men are failing women, let's jump back to 2019, when Gillette, the shaving razor company, released their The Best Man Can Be commercial that attempted to address toxic masculinity. During this time, I was, unfortunately, brainwashed into some of the beliefs of the early right-leaning manosphere guys, after my lunatic older brother had put me onto them. That's not the case anymore. Hasn't been since 2021. Want to make that abundantly clear. I had to process a lot of my own pain and feelings to begin escaping that echo chamber. It was like a cult. I went through a lot as a kid/teen/young adult. This is barely scratching the surface, but all of the hardship and abuse that I endured and barely survived at school and at home from my peers and the people in my family set me up for failure when I was met with criticism of any kind. So when the commercial came out, I had the reaction that a disturbingly large amount of men had, which was vitriolic anger at the brand for seemingly talking shit about its main customer base. After all, it's the best a man can get, right? And that calling masculinity toxic was an insane thing to do, right? But that wasn't it at all. That's what the far-right manosphere crazies pushed. And that's what we the consumers were fed through the YouTube algorithm. Even if you weren't into the far-right stuff, the algorithm still pushed it to you like crazy, just because you happened to be a man at the time. That's still true to this day. YouTube, you need to fix that shit. It's sickening. The commercial wasn't insulting men or masculinity. It was trying to show men how they could do better. Not just for each other, but for everyone around them. Asking them to break the cycle of toxic masculinity rather than accepting it as something that can be improved. The idea of toxic masculinity implies that masculinity itself is not toxic, but that there are toxic forms of it that need to be done away with. It makes sense. You could argue that the commercial was asking men to be strong rather than weak, but I saw a lot of comments preaching the opposite in my research, which is unfortunate. Because looking inward, holding yourself and others accountable, and working to better yourself is some of the hardest work that anybody can do. It also never ends if you're doing it right. That's what the commercial was asking for from men. Yes, the acting was cringe. Yes, a commercial was definitely not the best place to host a discourse on a subject like this. Yes, the company behind the commercial about making the world safer for women was taking advantage of them by charging more for women's products than men's products. Yes, they also use child labor. And yes, they are behind a great deal of unfettered and irresponsible deforestation in Indonesia. And yet, despite all of that horrific mess, and despite that it is a company seemingly run by rat people, a lot of women appreciated what the commercial was trying to say. So what the hell was wrong with us? Like, that should be what matters, right? You know, for all the posturing and fantasizing we do about wanting to be heroic and wanting to fight for a good cause, we can be fucking terrible at it sometimes. Because if we are not properly equipped to, which unfortunately most of us aren't, I wasn't for a long time, addressing the things wrong with us can feel like a personal attack, which, taking it as one, is a mistake that can waste a lot of time and a lot of potential. Let me be clear. I'm not attacking anybody here. I'm asking questions. And I'm asking you to think about answers. In earnest. Like Curly, we can find it difficult to call out the men around us for misdeeds and to hold them accountable for making the world a shittier place to be. Like Daisuke, many of us were too naive to understand what was being said, and we were too afraid to confront it because we weren't equipped to. And like Swansea, we were so consumed by our own pains that we had avoided processing that we became volatile, unapproachable, and unreliable. So where is that commercial these days? I've only managed to find it on news channels that have archived it, or YouTube channels that are still bitching about it. To this day. It came out in 2019, that's 6 years. As far as I can tell, the commercial is gone from anything that Gillette runs, which, I mean, what message does that send to women about men? I reckon something like this. We are blind unless we're catcalling women. We are strong and brave unless we have to stand up to those of us who do wrong. And we're friendly unless you criticize or question us. We are so many things, but above all else, when it mattered, we were fucking useless. And we are still fucking useless. If you're a guy watching this right now, sit down with a woman you trust. If you don't have one, that's not healthy. And I am rooting for you to figure that out, because you need one. Ask them how men have failed them in their life. plan to make a day of it. It might be a long discussion. The statistics about SA don't lie. In Canada, according to the Canadian government website, 78% of SAs don't get reported, and 1 in 3 women will be assaulted. 1 in 3. That's 33%. When people talk about the worst thing that can happen to somebody, SA is usually brought up as one of the worst case scenarios, and yet it happens all the fucking time. And the victims almost never report it because they won't be taken seriously. If they were taken seriously, the numbers wouldn't be that high, but they are. And that's in Canada, my country. A country rated one of the best places to live in the world. Like top 4. I don't have to tell you why that's frightening. The story of mouthwashing takes place in the distant future, in a world totally consumed by late-stage capitalism. A world where people everywhere struggle so much to survive that survival is all that matters. People don't get to live. They're always busy working to make ends meet and are never allowed to truly relax as the world constantly tries to distract you. While it's not a huge part of the story, it got me thinking. It's a world not too dissimilar from our own. In a world of distraction, it's difficult to find time to think. You have to make it, but do you even know how to make time? Do you know how to think for yourself? I imagine schools don't teach that these days. They didn't teach me that shit when I was a kid. I had to figure that out on my own. And I know education has only gotten worse since my youth. Due to that, the problem of people disregarding the world around them is only going to get worse. People not seeing each other's problems is not always a willful disregarding. I think more often than not, it's a passive ignorance that's been, programmed to live in all of us. I think it comes from a lack of thinking and being preoccupied. It feels like people are forgetting how to be human, how to be personal, how to look out for others, how to discuss uncomfortable things in earnest, how to advocate not just for others, but themselves. I know that I've personally seen people learn, forget, and relearn to do these things in my life. It's a thing to be wary of. At a baseline, it can be easy to miss very important details in the lives of those we care about, or even in our own lives. Add in too much distraction and a focus on working to survive, and we're too preoccupied being cogs in a machine to see everything human happening around us. As somebody who's been deeply depressed, and for years at a time, I can tell you that nobody notices. And if they do, they typically don't reach out directly. It's not their fault. We as people are programmed to not look out for that kind of stuff by the society we currently live in. And on top of that, you get very good at hiding it. What's worse is that telling people can somehow make you be deemed an uncomfortable person to be around. What's even crazier is that if you manage to make it through your depression and try to help others process their pain, people are so quick to be willing to talk about their issues with somebody actually willing to listen. It's like they've never seen someone who's willing to hear them out and explore their pain with them before. We live in a distinctly upsetting world right now. We live in an age where we have the power to communicate in so many ways through the use of technology that bridges the gaps of geographical distance and language barriers, and yet we have never been worse at listening to each other. We live in an age where we possess so much knowledge that is readily accessible at our behest, and yet our world has never been more polarized about what the truth is. Through failures of education and a lack of holding liars accountable. We live in an age where we're able to see into the far reaches of space, and we're able to see things happening on the other side of the world. Yet so many people are unwilling or unable to see things from the points of view of people who live down the fucking street. We live in an age where everyone's voices can be heard through the power of the internet, and yet people seem to have willingly lost or given up their voices and instead proudly parrot around what other people say, tending to gravitate towards the loudest and therefore usually the most toxic and ignorant voices. We live in an age where we need to think more than we ever have in human history, where war could mean global destruction, where lies spread like plagues unvaccinated, where people are sacrificing human rights at the feet of altars to men they'll never even shake hands with. And yet, people have never been happier to be told what to believe. Thinking about and believing in something are conflicting behaviors. You cannot fully do both at the same time, because believing is just accepting something as fact. Thinking about it is asking questions. Be wary of anybody demanding your belief in something, especially these days, because our world and our society not only fear thinking about the personal, the human, and the uncomfortable, they would rather make you believe they didn't exist. Meaninglessness is a terrifying concept, one that haunts me at times. Mouthwashing showed the horrors of a situation and the people in it consumed by meaninglessness. The line that perfectly sums up this part of the horror of this game is Jimmy's line, "All of this for mouthwash?" And not just mouthwash, but ineffective mouthwash. Too sweet to actually do its job. The crew's shipment is meaningless because it will lead to nothing. Pony Express is shutting down. Everything happens in this story because a scam mouthwash company wanted a failing shipping company to move their worthless product. Pony Express, the last shipping company that gives humans jobs, has workplace policies and propaganda that are very anti-human. They place locks on the medical room and the cockpit, but not the bedrooms, for safety. Curly, the only one who could do something about Jimmy before it was too late, much like the mouthwash, was too sweet to be able to see his friend as the monster he is, when it counted most. Daisuke's parents sending him on this voyage to get some proper work experience, they likely have business connections to send him somewhere better, more suited to his skill set and personality. They must really dislike him because they stuck him with Pony Express. And because of that, Daisuke won't get to do anything ever again. His family never saw the value in him, and they'll never know that he died trying to save someone so that he could experience what it's like to have someone tell him they're proud of him. Swansea cares deeply about the people on board, but fails to communicate his feelings at all, and due to that, usually behaves like and is seen as an uncaring asshole. Anya trying to hide the gun from Jimmy so he wouldn't hurt anyone, but Jimmy finding it regardless, Curly laughing in response, likely because he sees Jimmy for what he is now but is powerless to do anything about it. Jimmy's self-appointed redemption meaning nothing, because of course it doesn't. Killing himself and thinking he died a hero when he was the furthest thing from one, having been responsible for everyone dying because he was unwilling to accept responsibility for what he did to Anya, then to Curly, then to everybody else. Jimmy died thinking he saved Curly, when in reality, if the freezing of his greatly wounded body didn't kill him right away, 20 years later he would die if nobody found him, and he would suffer longer. If somebody did manage to find him, could they and would they save him? If they did, would his life ever go back to some semblance of normal? No, I don't think it would. His life would be endless suffering. And if by some miracle he recovered physically, mentally, he would be shattered forever. During the conversation that Jimmy and Curly have after his psych eval, Curly is grappling with thoughts of meaninglessness. He's worked hard, climbed the ladder, and become a great pilot and captain, but he fears he's figured himself out. It can be a terrifying, enlightening, and sometimes dangerous thing to figure yourself out. It has so many implications depending on the context, but if you figure yourself out incorrectly, you may stop trying to or just lose interest in trying to learn about yourself, which I personally think is a really important thing to do, to try and keep learning about yourself. In Mouthwashing, we get to explore the horrifying potential of someone who refuses to accept responsibility for their mistakes and how when in a position of power, they can destroy the lives of everyone around them. When I finished the game, and I came to the realization that Jimmy had effectively won the disgusting game of abuse and madness that he was playing with the crew's lives, and pretty much got everything that he ever wanted on his journey towards his end, getting to be in charge, getting to control everything, even getting to die, feeling like a hero, shouting into the void that he was taking responsibility like it was some kind of miracle cure and justification for his choices. Even after everything he did, he died satisfied with himself. He won, and it made me feel sick to my stomach. This game is steeped in meaninglessness. Mouthwashing is an experience I wish I could forget and play over again. It was 2.5 of the most enthralling hours I have spent gaming. It explores the importance of responsibility and accountability, the cost of neglect and ignorance, the horror of men failing women, the horror of being self-centered, the horror of distraction, the horror of meaninglessness, and the importance of seeing the full picture over the big picture. And it is a masterpiece. All right. Oh, we made it. Let's take a step back now. Guy, you know a game is dark when the community copes by imagining the cast as actors in some twisted horror movie. This was a long video that talked about a lot of heavy stuff. So take a moment, go sit outside with a drink of water, get some fresh air, and take some time for yourself to decompress. Do some breathing exercises or something, I don't know. I'm gonna. No goofy sign-off outro this time. If you couldn't tell, based on this video, I'm a sensitive guy. I felt a lot of things playing this game and writing the script and recording it for this video. Goofing around wasn't the way to do the video, and it's not the way to do this ending. But that doesn't mean the whole video has to be depressing. I have something different for you this time. I'm going to leave you with a series of thoughts that this story made me have. I had to try and make something hopeful from this deeply depressing and upsetting story, despite hope not being present in it whatsoever. And I thought I'd try to leave the video on a lighter note. I ended up getting a little consumed by the idea of dead pixels in pictures. In Mouthwashing, it was Jimmy's narcissism and deep-rooted malice being hidden in Curly's mental picture of him, his life, and his job. It was Anya's unseen cries for help and all-consuming hopelessness being out of Curly's view. This series of thoughts is not related to the story of Mouthwashing, and it approaches the idea of pictures in a different way. It's weird, kinda scattered, likely pretentious, but well, you've watched this long, right? Sometimes my brain is needlessly poetic and convoluted, but I don't know, these thoughts might inspire some good after all this talk of horror, so I thought I'd share them with you, at the risk of sounding cringe. I've been through worse, so here it goes. Every concept in life is a picture, and everybody has a pixel of their own within those pictures. In my experience, most of the time, people are likely going through something, and people may be subtly pointing out or trying their best to hide their dead pixel in one or many of the innumerable pictures of life, hoping that someone caring notices and that they can maybe help fix it. Hope, love, and humanity are precious commodities these days, and yet they are as important as they are finite. In terms of pictures, they're among the most beautiful ones we're a part of. And yet, the world, and some people in it, seem particularly determined to burn out the pixels in these long-standing pictures of goodness in us as people. Every dead pixel being a spark extinguished, a person hurt or changed for the worse. As humans on this pale blue dot, we are all we have. Nobody's coming to save us. So look out for those you care about, and those who may need your help, if you can offer it. Practice caring about and checking in with yourself too, because it does take practice, especially if you were taught to think you don't deserve it by your life's hardships, misguided or misinformed people, or evil people, if you've had the misfortune of meeting them. Make sure that you're okay and not unintentionally burning out other people's pixels or your own pixels in the grand collage of life. You know, Looking at our home from a glance in deep space, it seemingly has no meaning or importance. If you get far enough away, it looks an awful lot like a dead pixel in a terrifying, horrid picture of futility and meaninglessness. Our home is a flaw in a bleak picture. It's up to us to try and bring some good and some meaning to this life and this place. That's what hope and humanity are all about. Wherever we live, it doesn't matter. Hope, love, and humanity are like fire. They bring warmth and light, and they can spread quickly. Though unlike fire, they can burn brightly anywhere, even surrounded by unending darkness. And just because a fire dies, gets extinguished, or fails to start, doesn't mean its spark can't be reignited. Something that my experiences dealing with my traumas and depression have taught me is that the light isn't at the end of the tunnel. It's within you. It's in all of us. It's a torch that each of us carry that we have to ignite, nurture, and protect the flame of to find the way out of the tunnel. And even outside the tunnel, things still get dark sometimes. With everything going on in the world these days, it seems to be more than usual. So you need your light to guide your way. Be a beacon, and you'll be surprised what good can emerge from the dark. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to reading your comments. Be safe out there. Things are getting scary. And I will see you in the next video. It'll be something more lighthearted, I swear. Have a good one.